Happy Wednesday, boys and girls. My name is Jeffrey Scott Mitchell, and I'm coming to you live on Memorex from the default location, default route. It's been like 4 days short of a month, maybe 5 days short of a month since I've walked this path after my recent stay in Ohio at the ultimate remote location for my daughter, granddaughter, and family and grandsons and my son and ex-wives and Browns fans and family I grew up with. Well, I went and saw Brenda and Jesse once, so at least I can say I did. I was back there the whole time, wasn't working, and still didn't get out and do much. Because I'm gonna tell you why. Granddaughter, wear your ass out. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it. Granddaughter will wear you out. And speaking of granddaughter, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but it's coming to a time in the age where I gotta watch how I play and antagonize her and, mess with her or whatever. Even though I do it playfully, I'm not trying to hurt her or nothing. She's starting to get to the point where she can do it back to me. She at a point now where she gets the point, she figured it out how to do it, and she'll mess with me now. And I don't got the energy to keep up. This happened before with my other cousins, where they got to a certain age where I just had to stop playing with them because they're kids. They don't know when to stop. They maybe don't even know how to stop. You set the precedent. You said it was okay for us to do this to each other. Why can't I do it now? Because I'm working or whatever, even though I wasn't working, but you know what I mean. So that's something that's got to be negotiated. She's getting pretty good at it too. She is getting pretty good at it. But I will say this, there's a certain element or part of me that I don't want to say happy to see, but I think it could be beneficial if she knew how to play that way. It's a little bit, not fighting, but kind of, how dogs play fight, and all that. Even though dogs be playing, they be like fighting. Something like that. She's starting to learn how to hit. Hit with things. Of course, she's 3. She always been at it. She's been hit for a couple years now, been at a hit. But I'm talking about really hit now. Hit with like flags and, stuff in her hand, and not throw stuff as so much, but, she's starting to learn how to come after me like that. And I can't win. She'll win. She'll win. Because I ain't got the energy or the strength to maintain how long she can do it. And like my ex-wife said, don't even let her take a stance like that at you. Because we just be playing, be like, all right, you ready to box? Come on, put them up. And she throw her dukes up, like we gonna go at it. And not that I want to teach her how to fight. Not so much that I want to teach her how to fight, but not so much that I don't. Because she is gonna have to learn eventually defend herself. And that's gonna be coming soon enough. She get out with other kids and stuff, start playing. There's gonna be some of that. And you wanna learn how to do it. And from what I see in her, she ain't got none of it. She ain't got nothing in her like that. So, she do a little punching, put her dukes up, be ready to like defend herself with she had a flag and was like holding it back like she was going, Like, okay. But when you want to turn it off, and then also, I think she's starting to see me as the antagonist or somebody who's not her enemy, but somebody who's more of an antagonist. And but we still, we hang out, we go to, everything is cool when we ain't in that mode. Probably when her mother ain't around, especially when her mother or father ain't around. Because she a different person when her mother and father around. So, and when it was just me and her, it's cool. Because I have to admit, one time I was like, she was sleeping, I was like, come on, come here. And she kind of hesitated, stopped and then hesitated. You know, probably like I was gonna do something to her. I was like, no, come on. And then I picked her up, because I don't usually be picking her up and, you know, letting her sit on my lap and be, you know, so she fall asleep on my lap. I don't usually do that. So I can understand why she was apprehensive. One time when she was little, she wanted to get in my lap, but she stopped and looked up. You know, and I was like, and I don't know, just like the dog. I didn't want to start feeding the dog, but I ended up doing it anyway. Now I can't make a move without the dog following me all over the place, staring at me while I'm eating. I never gave Car anything to eat while I was eating. But if I go in that refrigerator, or go anywhere near that kitchen, there she go, just staring you down. And so, you know, there's a fine line. There's a fine line. You know, there's a fine line. And just like her mother and father and grandmother set a line with her that is way, way, way past, you know, where I want to go, what I would want to do. You know, I do like keeping a distance, which leads me to the second part of it. It's good to be back. It is good to be back. I got some stuff I got to deal with, basically money stuff. Come back to find out, $4,000 to the IRS. And that was due June 9th. It was due 2 days ago. And I don't know why, you know, I did my taxes. I got to check all that. Did I do my taxes right? Is this right? I got to deal with my health insurance company, make sure they paying out. Got to make sure that the California state is paying out. Got to go to my doctor on the 13th. Ooh, the day after tomorrow. Oh my goodness. Go to my doctor on the 13th or 12th to get my papers. I got to get the papers so she can send them in, so I can go back on the 25th. And, you know, just stuff. And it's not a lot, but I haven't been in that mode in so long. Well, so long is probably a dramatic way to put it, but, you know, I haven't been in that. My mind hasn't been turning that way. Being off work and just being back there with granddaughter, you know, just hanging out and eating too much. Speaking of eating too much, Mr. Scale told me 204.2 today. It's still morning. It's still morning. Stop. You know, it's technically still morning. It's officially still morning. So, and I think I got up out of bed about 40 minutes to an hour later than I usually do. And so it's kind of a good start. It's a fairly good start. It's a good start. I got a couple weeks. I got 2 weeks exactly before I have to go back. The 25th is exactly 2 weeks. And so I got to get myself together with that. Got to do some stuff with my mother. Some more money going that way. Probably got to spend some time with her. And I got to start putting all these things together. And it's rightfully so, because I need to put it all together. And I need to put it all together and get ready to get back into business mode. I think I'm ready. And I really do feel like, you know, I can answer some phone calls. That whole heaviness that I used to get, and that feeling I get thinking about answering calls, I really do believe it feels like it's gone. And I won't see until I get there. And that first phone call rang. And maybe I just needed a break, because I do feel a lot different. It's almost like I'm ready for a phone call. Technology Sport, this is Jeff. How can I help you get back to who I used to be? You know, with them numbers and getting that rating and that performance, you know, all of that. So I'm ready for that. And I was thinking, do I miss being back there with my daughter and granddaughter? It is a nice little setup. I've said that before. I got a nice little setup. I got my own room, first floor, my own bathroom, by the kitchen, by the back door, windows in the bathroom, whatever that means. It's just nice. Window right by my bed. Bed is right by the window, so I can lay in the bed and look out the window if it's raining or something. Just a really, bed is comfortable. I set up my computer desk in there. There's a card table. It folds up when I leave, put it away, come back. I got my boxes, like everything's set up, clothes set up. It's just a real nice setup, so it is comfortable. And where my daughter works, I got access to a car, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it's just a good setup. It's just a really good setup. And I was like, do I miss it? Do I miss them? Do I miss granddaughter? And the conclusion I came to was, I'm not sure. The conclusion I came to is, I'm not sure, because there's a lot of work. And y'all know, I love me some me. And I just want to be into me. And I've made that clear pretty much to everybody that I meet and met who knows me. That Jeffery loves you. Ooh, I don't like saying that. That Jeffery is cool, with everybody, acquaintances, friends. But Jeffery like to do his own thing. Jeffery gonna sleep in his car. He ain't gonna stay at your house. Jeffery was more comfortable sleeping in his car than, sharing your space. That's just the way I operate. The level of independence that I like to maintain. And that leads me to the point of, I was gonna say that it's not so much that I'm ashamed to admit that I might miss them. It's more of a reluctance to miss them. It's more of again, apathy is the most underrated component of happiness. I don't want to miss nobody. It just makes things complicated. I don't want to miss nobody. I don't want to be thinking about nobody. I love my independence. I love walking back in my apartment, having it just the way I left it. Everything right, because I got everything right where it's supposed to be all the time. Everything boom, 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 boom. I got all my toys and tools set up. As soon as I get home, unpack, love unpacking it, putting it back together, even though I done hooked my cameras up. I done hooked the wireless cameras up. But I put everything where it's supposed to be. Got the camera sitting there ready to get, put up, blah, 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 blah. I just got all that done. Got my data backed up, transferred data this way, that way. Sat down. I brought a steak back with me. Threw on some tater tots. Had that steak. Hooked the Fire Stick back up to the TV. Reprogrammed the Fire Stick to work on that TV. Set in my recliner. Oh my God. Oh my God. My TV, it's the best. It is the best. And that will be jeopardized should I begin to miss somebody or want to be with somebody. Because I wrote a song about a while ago called I So Long to Be With You. And when we record, me, Mello, and Mark, we record and we talking. And Mark said, yeah, it's like you're acting. Not me, but her or whoever, when you're actually playing music, you're acting. Because everybody who know me, I don't long to be with nobody. But I'm able to feel that vibe and quote unquote write those songs and get into that energy. I so long to be with you. It's all that I can do to keep a smile on my face, et cetera, all that. And that ain't me, but I can feel it, and I understand it. But maybe I don't feel it, I understand it. And I'm acting, sort of, to a degree. But, yeah, missing somebody and wanting to be here when you're not there, that just complicates things. And I got stuff I want to do. I don't want no complications. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying I don't want no complications. This stuff I want to do, this stuff I want to get done in life, and it takes a devotion and a focus on me and what I want to do and what I want to think, and kind of a segue in a kind of clumsy way. I'm listening to a book on existentialism, and that's really all about the individual and the self and developing your own philosophy, understanding there's a concrete existence, there's a concrete reality. How we interpret that reality varies through our consciousness. How we interpret that reality, that's what our consciousness does. And everybody's gonna have a different way of interpreting reality. But there is a concrete reality. As individuals, we all see what we see. Not sure why I went down that street, but consciousness, reality, missing people, blah, blah, reality, whatever. Oh, existentialism. I was talking about existentialism. And they were explaining the parts of that. And as I'm listening to more and more audiobooks based on philosophy or philosophical ideas, I'm noticing these books go through all the great philosophers. And they're pretty much they all pick the same ones. Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, Hegel, Kant. That's Jung. I heard Carl Jung, and then some other ones, Voltaire, when they tell their story. In fact, I'm listening to the history of philosophy, which actually goes through them one by one. The school of philosophy, I went from, I think, Plato to Socrates to Aristotle. I'm not sure the exact order, and I noticed there's like 3 or 4 of these books are borrowing from the same philosophers. So, and I'm not mad at that. In fact, it gives me something to study, to learn, so I can better understand the greater mainstream thinking of philosophy. Because one time I was talking to somebody, and I was telling them I was into objectivism and this and that, and we was talking about something, and I said something about Atlas Shrugged, and they said, Ayn Rand. And it kind of, I looked up, and because it surprised me that somebody knew who that was. But I think Ayn Rand was actually taught at one time. I think objectivism might have been real popular, taught in schools or something, because a lot of people know about it. Fountainhead, Atlas Shrugged, major movies. People know about them. I mean, I'm the one that's late, I guess. So, I think there's a I don't want to say standard or a template or your standard philosophers or teaching of philosophies and development of the ideas. And I ain't mad at the people 2,000 years ago or so who came up with ideas that are so good they stand the test of time, and how they say some of this stuff that was written by Voltaire and et cetera, is just so good, just so brilliant. You almost can't touch it. It really hasn't been outdone since then. I might be overdoing it, and I ain't mad at that. I ain't mad at that. Because if you discover that 2 + 2 = 4, I don't care how badass I am, 2 + 2 is still 1 = 4. There's only so far you can go on that. But something as dynamic and far-reaching as philosophy, you can go in so many different directions. There's always going to be a area or a space where you can interject something, like on a line, points on a line. There's always room to put another point between any 2 points. And I think that's the way of philosophy. No matter how good or how detailed or how much you nail the ideas and put it down, there's so much to it that there's always something that can be added to it. Probably like science in general. Science in general is built on falsibility, being able to be proved false. The whole idea of science is to throw something out there and for everybody to try to tear it down. That's called the scientific method. And that's probably one of our best ways of learning stuff. And back in the religious age, or the age of when theology and the church ran everything, they would kill you if you said something different. I mean, state legalized, you'd be condemned. In fact, a lot of these philosophers that I was just talking about were condemned or excommunicated or had to run for their lives or just martyred themselves because they didn't want to, change the way they were thinking. And that was just standard practice. Well, I'm just thinking maybe I can find some documentaries or some docudramas about some of these philosophers, and watch it that way. Instead of, hearing a narrator, which narrator's cool. But anyhow, that's the stuff I want to talk about and work on and have my attention to. So I ain't trying to be missing nobody. Even though I call it like a Stockholm syndrome, that, you grow a certain affinity for your captors and you become accustomed to it or whatever. And it's not that you miss it, but you tune your body to it. And when it's gone, your body has to retune. And you may feel a little bit off or awkward. And that may feel like you miss them. Something like that. It's definitely that way coming back here. Not the first day. Well, the first day, yeah, it's like when the kids would come out here and stay for a few weeks, then leave. Then I come back to the house after dropping them off at the airport, and their energy and them aren't there. That was a big shift. Had to get used to that. But I settled back in quickly because it's a lot of work, a lot of attention. It's work for me, giving attention. My ex-wife, on the other hand, grandma, granddaughter's granddaughter, and grandson's grandmother, has no problem with giving that to. She walked in, she wasn't in the house 2 minutes. They reading. She reading her book and going over letters and phonics and teaching. And I was like, okay, I get it now. I see what you're doing. Whereas I just want to come back there and play and quote unquote teach granddaughter some of the more liberal types of activities that, because especially, when her father really overprotective. He barely let her walk. He'd be carrying her out to the car. I'm like, that girl can walk. In the mall holding her hand. But again, she act different with me than she do with them. There's a freedom that she has with them that she doesn't have with me. And also when she was on stage during the presentations and when they brought all the dancers out and they had to sit there through like their awards and presentations and all that, et cetera, et cetera. She sat there calmly. Some other kids were doing stuff. She just sat there calmly. She yawned a couple times, but she was paying attention. She wasn't like completely paying attention, but she wasn't completely aloof either. She was looking to where she's supposed to be looking. She clapped when she was supposed to. When people got awards or whatever. Now, of course, they called her name, and she didn't get up to go get her medal, which did not surprise me. She just didn't do her thing. But she didn't seem to be too disturbed by it that everybody got something and she didn't. She just, I don't even know if she noticed, but she kept going by. I saw her looking at the little boy stuff. And she telling people, just doing what 3-year-olds do. And she also, we was at the mall. I think I posted the video about Bluey. We saw Bluey and she started to learn how to interact with kids. She got to learn all that, she got to learn all that. How to interact with kids, other girls that she don't know, and they all ended up holding hands. Heard other girls holding hands and jumping, just jumping up and down. You know, while Bluey danced and some music played. And then I look over, it's like two boys. It was two boys. They were older. They were like 6 or 7. Looked like they were 5, 6 or 7. And it was they all 4 of them was holding hands and just jumping up and down. And I get that part I really get. Kids just love to run and jump. They could just literally run and jump, and that's all they need. And there's a bunch of kids there, music playing, and they're just jumping. You know, just jumping up and down. And having such a good time. And Bluey was there. So it was good, you know. And he was there, you know, he hanging with, like I said, she's different with them, so she may run off. You know, she may run off if she's with them. And it could be I'm not back there enough for her to know me that well, for her to break me down over time, because over time she gonna break you down. She got too much energy. Over time, I mean, she 3, I'm 63. She gonna win. If it come down to a matter of attrition, she gonna win. You know, it's gonna be really small baby steps, probably something organic, not orchestrated, not even planned or anything. She gonna win. She gonna figure out this and remember, oh, I did that last time and this is what happened. And it's just gonna build up. Then she gonna start trying stuff. Then she gonna start trying me. And then she start trying you. And then she learn what she can get away with and not get away with. But right now, I still, you know, there's still a little bit of fear or apprehension with me, and I am not upset about that. But I can see it's you know, starting to wane a little bit, so I may have to pull back on the plan or whatever. But, and like I said, I remember I had to do that with a couple cousins of mine, and it made me sad. It made me sad that I couldn't play with them and joke around and play with them like that no more. I definitely, I could feel, not sad, but you know, I definitely felt away. I definitely missed that. I definitely missed that. And so when he's there, you know, he always holding her, carrying her, holding her hand. I'm like, you better let that child, but like I said, they different. You know, she's different with me than she is with them. So I don't, and I tell them all the time, y'all on the front line, I bow down. I got nothing, there's nothing I can say but give y'all gratitude. I can't criticize. Y'all on the front line. Total homage, respect. You know, pretty much, I'm like, anything you do is cool. Basically, like anything you gotta do to get through the day is cool with me. Now they starting to push it a little bit, you know, doing little tricks to get her to do stuff. It's getting a little bit too tricky. But they gonna have to step up. See, they gonna, and see, maybe that's it too. They gonna have to step up and be a little bit more disciplined, a little bit more forceful. Just like I'm gonna have to make an adjustment. But we'll see. We'll see. Because like I said, there's no whining. When Kimberly ain't around, there's no whining. And I think it was the same way with my niece, the child. I took the child back to Ohio with just me and her. She didn't whine one time. And as I look back now, as soon as her mother come around, as soon as my sister come around, she started that whining. Like, you know, in it for anything. And then sometimes I have a complete meltdown and breakdown. When the child was me, when my niece was with me, she looked me in the face like a grown, I think she might have been 4 or 5 or something like that. She looked me in the face like a grown woman. Said, we gotta handle our business. We're gonna do it, right? And she didn't cry not once. So, like I said, I know it's a different circumstance, it's different everything, and I don't fault or, well, I probably still do criticize. Come on, this is Jeffery. I'll definitely probably still criticize and summarize and editorialize. I mean, that's just what I do, folks. And if I didn't, they probably think something was wrong with me. And say, what, you ain't got nothing to say? I say, I ain't got to say it half the time. I ain't got to say it, they know. They already know. They already know, they don't even got to ask or say it. And that's, you know, and that dynamic is settled in. My daughter is settled in, I think everybody's settled in. So it was fun, it was just really fun. They come over, you know, we hang out or whatever. And the day before I left was when granddaughter's with her father. And that's Kimberly's day off. And Kimberly like, it's my only day off, give me space. You know, it's my only day off. And she ain't got no problem with, you know, letting everybody know, whatever. It's my only day off, and he said, Russ, granddaughter, you got to go. And don't come back. But for somehow, because of Bluey and this and that, and I had to get a rental car and this and that, we all ended up over her house. And I could see she wasn't too disturbed by that. I could see she wasn't too disturbed, because if she was disturbed, we'd have known it. You know, she almost had like a little smile on her face. You know, and we all ended up over there on her day off. You know, when she's supposed to be resting, and they had to go to work, back to work that night, you know. And we all ended up over there. Like, yay! You know, she's probably happy to see her daughter for a little bit, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, you can't really be too upset about it. And it was fun. Then I went and got gyros. So I got gyros and we ate, and she went upstairs and she got some sleep. And I don't know, I tried to stay up. I didn't want to go to sleep. I wanted to make sure I didn't go to sleep, because I knew I had to get up at 5:15. And if I'd have took a nap at 2, 3, 4 in the afternoon, I'd have been up all night. And it worked. I got a few hours sleep, got up at 5:15, gave myself a lot of time to get there, and slept on the plane. I think I fell asleep twice on the plane, maybe for an hour and an hour. So I felt pretty good. And it took a lot of the time up, 2 hours out of a 5-hour flight, basically. You know, so that made that kind of go fast. And I watched some stuff, some movies, got the internet. Somehow I got the internet. Flew Breeze. Let me tell you something about Breeze. Just like Frontier, you're going through maybe Terminal 1 or Terminal 2, you're gonna walk. And then you're gonna get on a bus to take you to your gate. And they pack that bus, and it's not just walk to your gate. You know, you got to get on a bus. You carrying luggage, carrying your carry-on, squeeze on that bus. There's a lot of walking to the gate, and getting on that bus packed. The bus driver be driving too, and there ain't too much to hold on. It's one of them stand-up buses that ain't got no seats. So that's Breeze. But other than that, the seats were more cushiony, more modern. They had a USB outlet for power. They had tray. They had the tray table, of course, but like a real one, unlike Spirit. And they had one for your phone higher up on the back of the seat in front of you. So you can put your phone up there and watch it. And they had Wi-Fi. And somehow I got the Wi-Fi for free or whatever. I'm not sure what happened, what I did, or if they just put it on, because I know they're supposed to have free entertainment. You know, you're supposed to log onto the Wi-Fi. You should be able to access, you know, a little bit of flight info and some free movies. But I couldn't get the free movies to work. So next thing I know, I'm like, oh, my Facebook is working. My Messenger is working. Okay. So I just watched, I went to YouTube or something. I went to somewhere and started watching a movie or something. I think I watched something about another philosophy movie, about Nietzsche. Yeah, I watched something about Nietzsche. And then I watched something else, something like that. That's on the plane. And last night I watched A Lot Nights, was it? Art, Robert De Niro, At Lot Nights or whatever, Atoll Nights. About the story of Frankie Costello, Gangsters, New York. It was pretty good. De Niro played a dual role. I watched that. And then I watched something else. Oh, and I watched Mountainhead. So I watched a lot yesterday. That's a lot for me. It was just that kind of day. That's probably why I felt like I sunk down so low. And I felt like, oh. And like I said, sometimes I feel like I ain't gonna come up. I ain't gonna be able to come up out of it. I was laying there and I woke up this morning like 5 a.m. Was able to go back to sleep. Look at the clock, it's 9 o'clock. Laid there for another half hour, playing on the kitty. Playing on the computer and my phone, looking at over bills and emails, and etc. Then I was like, all right, I'm ready. Get up, get dressed. It was excited about getting out here, back on the default route in the sun, especially after I woke up at 204.2. And I'm sure, even though I didn't eat or do anything, it's probably water weight. I was doing a lot of peeing. I was doing a lot of peeing. So it's probably water weight, because this is like, no way in hell I should be down to no damn 204.2. After the stuff I've been doing to myself, the calories I've been intaking. It's no way in hell. But I'll take it, and we'll get back here and see. I bet that when I get there, get home, when I get on the scale, I probably won't drop. I usually drop 1.8 if I don't sweat. If I sweat heavily, I can drop 2.8. I probably won't drop that much, and that's okay. Because I'll take 203 anything. And then I'll make grits, I'll do this, I'll do something. I'll try to keep the calories down as much as I can. But I'm already fantasizing about what I want to eat tonight. So that's that. Weapon of Choice play on the 13th at the Mid. So I'll be going out for that. That'll be fun. Go see what that's about. Then I have the weekend. You know, I got to do stuff. Think about my mother. I know she's gonna be calling me. When are you coming out? I was like, shoot, I just walked in the house. I just walked in the house. I said, I need a couple days. But I think they know. I think they understand. I need a couple days to decompress or whatever. So they get it. My mother be like, yeah, come out here and rest. I said, that ain't resting. Lady, that is not resting. That is not resting. So that's where we're at. Back on the default route. Feels good. Be out here. And I noticed immediately seeing people. It's good to see people. I haven't seen enough. Even on the pathway, off of the beaten street, off the beaten path, even on here, I'm seeing people, and it was good to see people. And I was outside yesterday. Yeah, I'm still doing them black miles. I need to quit. And when I go back to work, I definitely gonna slow it. It's definitely gonna slow down when I go back to work. So that's my saving grace. Because I don't do them until I get off work. And so that's gonna be good. And I was outside, and, Big Jeff! You know, just seeing people walk by, you know, on the residential street, apartment buildings, whatever. Just seeing people, you know. Feels good. Like I said, I get back. Maybe I'll go someplace today. Ooh, because it is only 10. Maybe I can get out of here early. Oh, can I go down Venice Beach, Santa Monica? Should I go downtown? Get my car hit with a brick? Should I go downtown? I don't know. The Lyft ride from the flyaway to home was $20. I don't know why it was so much, but I think there's something to it. I think there's an extra click or something in there. But like if I'd have got off and walked around the corner and caught it, I'm thinking it might have been cheaper. Not because it's closer, it's because of the pickup point, I'm thinking. Because it jumped from like $13 up to 20 something. May have been demand, may have been all of us getting off the bus, you know, making that request. Could be that. But I ain't worried about the money I'm going to start dealing with now. I'm glad the stock market rebounded. I got all my money back from the tariff plunge. Got some back and more. Probably call my advisor, say, look, I'm gonna have to take some out. Cause I got a chunk here, and I got a chunk there, but I probably got another 10,000 I'm gonna have to kick out one way or the other. And then we're talking about $1,400 a month. Hey, it was a fire. Talking about $1,400 a month between me and my sister from my mother. Extra on top of my already $1,800 a month rent, which went up, plus I owe money for rent because the rent went up and I didn't adjust the automatic payment. The rent went up and I didn't adjust the automatic payment. And I knew this was gonna catch up with me. They caught up with me, so I'll probably send them some money and adjust my payment to be, you know, proper, as you could say. And you know, I still gotta call in, get my change my password at work. You know, even though we're not supposed to work on stuff, I'm gonna log in and check my email and start knocking some of them off. Go back in there with 300 emails, unless I just wait till I get back and take a couple hours to acclimate, use that time, you know, instead of just running in, jumping right on the phone, ease into it. I probably could tell the doctor, tell him I can't answer the phone, I only can do emails. But I wouldn't even want that. I don't even want that. I don't want that. That's not how I want to go back. I'm gonna go back ready to, you know, gladiator, warrior. You know, I want to come back, knocking them down, doing what I got to do, getting it finished, getting it taken care of, you know. I ain't trying to, I don't want to go back under any handicap or any kind of affirmative action. I didn't have to say that, did I? I probably could have let that go. Huh? But you know what I mean. So, that's how that goes. And that's where we're at. Feels good. Just get back home. Don't eat too much. Yeah, I'm going over the plan. Get back home. Don't eat too much. Sit down at the computer. Start looking at emails and going through mail. Get everything laid out where I don't necessarily have to do anything. I ain't gonna set it up to where I have to do anything, but just kind of look at it. Just look at it and get an idea of the layout. Just kind of like lay it out, you know? You see what I got. Just spread it out and take a good look at it and say, okay. And then if I happen to be able to accomplish something, you know, there you go. But, you know, don't go and just kind of ease into it. Don't put any pressure on me to execute or get stuff done. Just kind of relax and let it flow. And then realizing that any little thing I can do is going to be a big help. Just see what I can do and understand that, okay, I feel like doing that. I can handle that. Just kind of ease into it, you know. Get done what I can, and then maybe I'll get some traction and say, oh, you know, while I'm here, let me go ahead and log in or email these people, send this here. Go back and check that email, see what they said about this, find out where my money is about that. You know, just gather up the information and lay it out. So, but yeah, I definitely, I may not miss being back there or miss them, but I can't say that I don't, and I can't say that I do. And for me, that's a lot. Usually, because I don't miss nothing. And to be honest with you, if it came down to it, I probably don't. I mean, so it's either like, all right, you can go and do this. You know, if you go back there and do this, you can't do that. And doing that is being in my apartment, in my space, with time and air, and not peace, but quiet. Space, not just physical space. Mental and psychological and spiritual space. Because granddaughter take up all that. She a space vampire. She'll suck it all out. Or she'll fill the room with hers. And just, it'll overrun everything else. There is no space. She fills the room with her energy, so there's no space. And if you move, you look, you turn, she own it. I go in the basement, she behind me. I go in the bathroom, what you doing? But it's not all the time, you know, sometimes she get into her own little thing and she start playing her own little thing. And you don't move. You don't distract her. You leave the TV where it's at, leave everything just the way it is. Let her do her own thing. She's singing, talking to herself. You know, you get your little thing on. But that's what it comes down to. It's not so much, ashamed. The word was ashamed. It's not that well, okay. I might be able to say that ashamed might be a strong word, but the Jeffery that I relish and treasure if we were writing like a play or a story, that character could easily be ashamed of missing somebody. It's just the way, you know, I try to keep things. But ashamed is I'm not ashamed of that. It's not a shame. It's that, you know, I don't want to miss anybody. I don't want to miss anything. It complicates life too much. It makes things harder. It's a lot easier just not to, I don't want to say not to care, but not to care. It's easier not to care. Yeah, I can say that. It's much easier not to care. That's a fair statement, probably across the board. It's a lot easier not to care. Caring is strenuous. Caring, tension, stress, oh my God. Because I look at mommy, daddy, and grandma over there, woo, the level of caring and concern that they have, just kill me. Just kill me. I'll die. Nope, I don't want to go through this no more. Nope. I'm cool. I pass. You got it. It's on you. You can have it. Because they got it. They got it bad and for real. And I understand it. I'm not putting it down. Like I always say, the hardest, most difficult thing in the universe is mother. That's the hardest job I've ever seen. But what evolution has instilled in mothers, being conscious or unconscious or whatever, to a degree, is strong and powerful. It's strong and powerful. It has to be for them to do that job. You gotta have something to do that job. Anyway, not so many homeless people, but they out here. There's some out here. Not like back in Ohio. Nowhere near as bad as it used to be. It used to be like really, really bad. I don't know what they did with them, but they ain't around here no more. And plus with the Olympics coming up, they're gonna get rid of a lot of folks. I don't know what they're gonna do with them, like I said. But they ain't gonna be walking the street. The public ain't gonna see them. People come here spending all that money to be here for the Olympics. Gonna be accommodated. And rightfully so. Revenue for the city, bring it in, et cetera, et cetera. You get contracts, you get people host, oh yeah, we'll host in LA, but too many homeless people. So let's do it in Seattle. Something like that, you know? We could do it in San Diego. LA got a problem. Like, DC is rat infested. I Googled it. I said, is DC rat infested? Came back, yes. DC has a rat infestation problem. I was like, whoa, okay. But anyway, 52 minutes. I turned the I turned up the bits per second or whatever from 500 to 1,000 to get a little better picture. I didn't like the way that the picture looked on the TV. And since this is mostly about the vocal commentary and the audio, I don't really care what the video looks like, especially walking here. When I was in Ohio, I turned it up to 2,000. And I made the resolution high, much bigger, like 2-3 times bigger. Because I wanted to, capture all that Youngstown scenery and stuff. I'll turn it back down to 640 by 360. It looks okay on the phone anyway. And really it's not much to see. It's more about hearing me talk. But I turned it up to 1,000 because if I'm watching a podcast or something, and I look and it looks good, I want to compare mine to it. If I look at it and it looks all good, I want to compare mine to it. And see how mine looks and compare sound-wise, audio and video-wise. So, mine's not so far off. There's some of them you see, you can tell they're using 4K, probably DSLR cameras, whatever they call, $500, $600, $700, $800 cameras, shooting 4K, and their file size is probably like 10 gigabytes a minute. See, I'm trying to archive too much stuff. I'm trying to archive and save all of it. And I can't be having files too big. Even though storage space is cheaper and I can afford as much as, you know, since this is a priority in my life, you know, I got the money to buy as much as I want, but I still can't push myself to, you know, archive all that. And plus, it's harder to work with. Files get so big, it's hard to edit them, manipulate them, move them. So, you know, I make it smaller. Anyhow, swinging on y'all 2 times. For me, for the funk. For every elementary particle that has ever existed in any atom, in this, or in any universe that ever was, is, or will be. The totality of it all. Theory of universe. I still love that title. Not theory of the universe, theory of universe. An hypothesis of all as one. My name is Jeffery.